Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone on Wednesday night, first Wednesday of April. I'm glad we are not on April Fool's Day because I hate April Fool's Day because I never know whether to believe what somebody says. So I stay off of social media because I will fall for anything. So it's April 2nd. So I'm glad you guys are here on April 2nd. It's the Pirate Fan Zone. We're going to talk a little Lubbock Cooper baseball. Chris Baker's to my far left. Gus Cook's to his right. Cruz Lopez. Your name is one of my favorite names. Whenever I'm typing in, I'm like, this dude has two last names. That's cool. I want you guys to introduce yourselves by voice real quick because we do have a radio audience so they know who's talking.
Hi, I'm Cruz. I'm Gus.
Yeah, that's not hard to tell those two apart.
No, not at all.
Gus has a little country in him there. You guys, I sort of picked this scab before we started here. You guys have 2 district losses. I'm going to call up the standings here if I can get my computer to work. But Chris, those are 2 one-run losses, which double-edged sword. You lost them, but that also means you've been right there lockstep with the teams that beat you. Where are you guys? So the last time I saw you was Coronado beating you at your place. That's the first time I've seen you not in the best of moods until your little boy showed up. And good for you. You let that cheer you up. But where is this team right now as you guys head into this 3-week stretch that kind of determine where you're headed in the postseason?
Well, I think, we're right where we want to be still. I mean, obviously no one wants to lose. That's kind of the way baseball is sometimes. I think the Coronado game that, I'm going to give the credit to Coronado and Plainview. I think both are very well coached and both pitchers did a good job of keeping us off balance. But, I think we did some things good enough to win in both those games, and we definitely could have played better, but it's the way baseball is.
And Gus, I think you've been around the program since you were about 4, because I remember seeing you before you ever stepped on the field. What about this team what makes you guys unique? The last several years, you guys – I'm thinking back to the season when you guys went 5 rounds deep, wound up losing to Argyle. That was a team that took a while to find yourselves in the regular season and got hot. What about this team makes you feel like that's coming with this group?
Yeah, with a lot of us returning, we have some bond and some chemistry, unlike 2 years ago, and we kind of had to figure out where we were and kind of bond because nobody had been on the team. But yeah, we've been on the team, most of us, for 3 years, 2 years, so we have some bond and some chemistry. So.
And both of you guys have done some work on the mound, and the reason I say that is because we're just talking about the unofficial Tim Haynes rule that kind of changed how your district plays games. You guys had a horse. I mean, you had 2 horses last year, but you had the horse, maybe the best pitcher in Lubbock the last 4 or 5 years that you knew if you put him out there. I know Brad Winchy was writing in pen, didn't have to use a pencil when Tim pitched. You don't have that one. Jake is really good, and he's a guy that's going to get a lot of innings and win a lot of games. But you maybe have a little bit more pitching depth, guys who could do some different things. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think we definitely have a lot of pitching depth. I think Jake Qualley has earned his stripes as an ace, and then after that, it's Cruz has done a good job for us, and there's 5 or 6 guys that we trust to start a game. It's kind of been a hard thing going to who is the guy? Who is that Game 3 guy? So we got a lot of good options.
It seems like you've got the ability to maybe mix and match a little bit more.
Absolutely we do. And I think it's just credit to our kids, how hard they've worked at it. They've put in the time and really dedicated to the craft. I mean, they know their strengths, and I think that's paid off.
We're coming up on a break here pretty quick, so I won't throw another question out because I don't want anybody to get cut off. But, Cruz, when we come back, I want you to chat a little bit about – you've been in the program for a while, too. This is the first time you stepped into the spotlight a little bit. And that's one thing about Lubbock Cooper the last several years. Lubbock Cooper and Friendship Baseball, I think it's similar to this. Sometimes you have to wait your turn a little bit, and that can test a young guy's patience but also makes you pretty hungry by the time you get up here. So think about that when we come back. This is the Pirate Fan Zone on a Wednesday night. We've already had friendship. We're going to follow up with the Patriot Fan Zone. We're going to talk some Patriot golf, I hope, with Cord Wilburn. I'm not sure if he's bringing some of his dudes or not. Wednesday nights are Friendship, Lubbock, Cooper, and Liberty on the High School Fan Zone, 6 to 7 p.m. Monday nights are LASD nights, 6 to 7:30 p.m. We'll be back after this break on the Pirate Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Lubbock Cooper Athletics. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the Pirate Fan Zone on a Wednesday night. We're talking some Lubbock Cooper baseball. All right, Cruz, I put you on the spot there before. You had to wait your turn. You did get in a lot last year, but what's that like for a guy that's in a highly successful program? You know you're going to get your chance. Mm-hmm. I was a teenager once. It's hard to be patient sometimes. What's it like to get to that point now where you're a key guy for this team?
Yes, sir. It was definitely one of those where you have to wait, and every opportunity you have to try to make the most of it. So that's a lot of pressure with all your reps too. But I just had to learn to just settle down and trust in the preparation to go help the team out and earn the spot. So it was a lot of battling for sure.
I know getting to know Coach and Coach Winchy the last several years, they put a lot of emphasis on what you guys do JV-wise. They want you to take that as serious as you would any other time. And watching you guys in JV games, it's like, man, this is pretty serious. Gus, you've been playing since you were a sophomore. I was just talking about how you used to have a baby face. Coach said you still did, but that was him. Yeah. And you've been around the program. I was kidding about how long, but you've been around the program for quite a while. When you see a guy like Cruz get his chance, what's that say to you about a guy that's kind of got that stick-to-itiveness to grind away until he gets his opportunity?
Yeah, it shows a lot when, guys come out to practice every day, wanting a spot, coming to practice, competing, not taking practice for granted because, we practice more than we play. And so that's where you get all your chances and most of your reps. So if you prove something in practice, then here comes the game and you're playing. So it shows a lot whenever a guy does that, someone like Cruz. So,
and I enjoy watching you guys practices, and this is Coach Baker or Coach Winchy, because there's not a whole lot of wasted activity. There's always something happening. Does that come from coaching with Brad, or is that just a kind of a hodgepodge of guys you've coached with and played with? And
I think it does. I mean, I think the goal of a good practice is no one be standing around, and when we're out there, we want to have a high effort level, and that's if you love baseball, you love baseball practice. That's kind of the best players. Like Cruz here, he loves baseball. Anytime he's on a baseball field, it's he really enjoys it. So. I don't think it's really hard for those guys to come out there and grind away at it when they love it. And we're fortunate enough that we have a lot of kids that love baseball.
We'll take it back to the godfather of Lubbock Cooper baseball, Terry Baxter. If he's listening, I've got to say this.
Absolutely.
I know some guys who played for him. I think they told me he went by Scary Terry back in the day. His practices were a little bit more regimented. Has Coach Baxter ever come out and watch you guys, or?
There's some practices, but he's always with us in the weight room. So,
and he doesn't waste any time there either, does he?
No, there's no wasting time in the weight room with him.
So, okay, Coach knows this. I've known Coach Baxter since probably before you guys were born. When I worked at the Lubbock newspaper, first of all, he never smiled back then, ever. He's my age, so I can give him grief. And he became a grandpa, and he softened up a little bit, and now he's like a middle-aged bodybuilder. All
he's
out.
In great shape. He really is.
Can you guys keep up with him in the weight room?
Not upper body. No, not upper body. But I don't know about legs. I've never seen him do legs, but not the upper body.
Cruz, is he nicer to you guys in the weight room than he is the girls? Because he gets on those girls pretty hard.
He's a very straightforward guy, and he's gonna make us work hard. He's a big part of our season, I'd say. We're in there 3 times a week with him, and if you're not working, then I say he'll get on you. But, you'll be his friend if you're working hard. So that's all you can do.
He smiles once in a while. He's lightened up. Does he ever break out any baseball-isms in there on you guys? Because you can turn the baseball coach into a weight coach, but you can't take the baseball coach completely out of him.
He's still got that in there. Yeah. He's still got that in there for sure. It's awesome having him around. It's awesome, having both Terry and Brad around.
Your main AD is a former baseball coach too, Max Cotton. Did you guys know that Coach Cantwinkle was a baseball coach back in the day?
I did not. No.
Yep.
Yeah. Shallow water, right?
Shallow water and post.
Yeah.
And he was a good baseball coach. Sometimes as a young coach, I think I asked you that when I did the story on you getting hired. That can intimidate you, or you can use that to your advantage.
Oh, I think it's not intimidating. There's pressure there, because everybody cares about the program, and that's a great thing. But I think it means a lot to them, and they're always there for encouragement and everything like that. So,
what has changed with Coach Baker, Gus? Has anything changed, or is it just a different voice, different message, a little bit different message, or is it pretty par for the course?
Our off season changed a little bit. The way we go about practicing and everything, lifting. We definitely lift a lot more intensely, but it's kind of about all that I've noticed.
Has Coach gotten excited with an umpire yet?
There's been a lot of moments where we got to come out there and be like, "What's up with that call?" Like everyone's thinking it, but we're real big on this year. Like, we don't need to be yelling from the dugout and let him handle it, and that's all we can do. Just
because you're going from one mild-mannered guy to a pretty, and I mean that in a good way. I don't mean that disrespectfully whatsoever, but I don't know that I take that back. I did see Brad mad, really mad once in 6 years. And Chris, that's something you kind of have to learn as a new head coach. You have to kind of, I heard, I can't remember who I was listening to. They talked about how first-year coach, you're not sure when you start testing those limits to kind of make your point and stand up for your guys. Is that kind of an ongoing thing?
I'm probably maybe a little different. I intentionally try not to, I know there's going to be calls that go our way and don't go our way, but that's out of our control. Yep. And it seems like my experience when I, try to use that as an excuse or a crutch, it gives our players another excuse. And we're really just trying to see the ball and hit it and throw strikes and field it. So
the best way is just to make sure you score 2 more runs than the other team. That way, if that one run gets in there, right. You're a former catcher, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Catchers, we always know how to work them, to get along.
That's most of. We talk about that a lot, and especially with our catchers, working that strike zone.
Yep, I can see Wyatt being good at that. That's going to wrap us up on the Pirate Fan Zone this Wednesday night. We're going to have these guys on again as we get closer to the playoffs, because I have a feeling that we're going to have something to talk about with Lubbock Cooper baseball. We'll be back after the break on the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.